Hi there everyone, it's Adrian and welcome to this week's Facebook Live here in the Facebook group From Survival to Success. Yes, we're back in the UK, we've had our little trip away to Amsterdam, had a fantastic trip. We went to Amsterdam to check out the Van Gogh Museum, we also went to the Riksdag Museum there and saw some fantastic stuff, and you might have seen some of my posts on Instagram and Facebook. So today it's all about taking action, the action taking bit. Last week we talked about delegation, actually delegating tasks to people, but the action taking part sort of comes before that because you've got to take some action before you start delegating. And one of the reasons people don't take action is that it gets too complicated for them. So what I want to do today is demystify taking action a bit, and also give you some tips about some really good things to do and some really good things not to do. What is it about taking action? Well, the first thing for me is if you're going to take action in your business, and that's what we're talking about, taking action in your business, you've got to be asking yourself number one question, and that is, are you making your boat go faster by taking that action? Does it actually work? Is it going to add value to your business? Is it going to change it? Going to move the goalpost, move the needle a bit? Because if it's not going to be doing that, you should need to be asking yourself, well, why am I taking this action? What am I doing it for? And when we take action, I like to look at it as three different types of people taking action. The first one is the running, jumping approach to action. Now, you've seen people, and you may have felt this yourself at times, when you feel like you're running at the wall, you jump at the last minute, you go splat, and you fall down, and you go back again, and you get in that rabbit, sort of that hamster wheel effect of trying to get there and nothing seems to happen, nothing seems to work. It's very tiring, it's very demoralizing, and it's bad for your health too. And very rarely do people in that mode actually get there and achieve their goals because they just don't have the energy and the enthusiasm just to keep going. The next people have learned that the running jumping approach doesn't work, but actually what they try and do is they scramble faster. So they're scrambling up the mountain really fast, knocking off lots of debris, going 3 steps up, 4 steps down, 5 steps up, 2 steps down, and eventually they get to the top. But they're absolutely knackered. And then they get there and they realise the goal they were chasing probably wasn't the right goal. And so they've done all that work and they get there and they go, oh, it's not that. So they start again and they start chasing for the next thing. But they don't learn the lesson and they keep scrambling up the hill and causing lots of damage with all the debris they drop around them. And then there's the enlightened being who's actually gone through these processes. And by the way, you're never in one of these processes all the time. You probably have moments when you're in any one of these things, especially when you're starting something off or trying to change something. And then you get to the enlightened person who's at the end of that journey, if you like, has learnt the lessons and knows that it's all about taking one step at a time, one step at a time. Gina says that's her. Which one? The one in the middle or the one at the beginning, Gina? Okay, but the person at the end is taking one step at a time. They've realised they've got a goal. They're very clear about the goal. They have real clarity about their goal and they know where it is, they know what they're trying to do. And they know that they're going to take one step after the other to get there. And when they get to an obstacle, they stop and they look around and they figure out, well, how am I going to fix this obstacle? And then they take the steps around it, check where they are and get back on their track. And they're very deliberate about it. Now, they may run fast, they may run slow, it doesn't matter, but they know it's about taking the next step. And that's dependent on the circumstances around them and what they're trying to do. And then, if you get into that, you need to ask yourself this other question, because I think there's lots of people out there who are very good at adding stuff to their business. And there's lots of people out there that are really good at multiplying the things they do. But there's very few of us who actually sit for a minute and start to subtract things from what we do, take things off our to-do list, take things out of the mix that we need to be doing. Because actually, the bright people are the ones that can subtract really clearly and take things away that aren't going to damage the business, but are going to enable them to take more action. The analogy I used in a post I wrote yesterday was, if you're going to be going on holiday and travelling and you had the suitcase for a 20 kilogram allowance, but suddenly you were told, no, you can only take 14 kilos. Well, you've got to take stuff out. You've got to subtract from what you've put into your suitcase. Now, if you do that poorly, you're going to have a pretty miserable holiday. But if you do it well, it's not going to impact your holiday. And in fact, it may enhance your holiday because you had less stuff to take with you. But you've got to take the right stuff out. You've got to subtract the right stuff. Now, taking action is a very specific thing, because taking action means doing work. And work means, very specifically, changing the state of something from one thing to another, or moving something from one place to another. So that's what work is. It's changing the state or moving it from A to B. So if you're doing lots of activity and nothing's changing, that's not work. That's inaction. And inaction is this thing where you're doing lots of stuff and nothing happens. But certain types of inaction are really positive ways of acting, because you may look like you're doing nothing, but you could be thinking, considering. You know, I talk about taking a pause, taking a breath, and then continuing. So when you pause, you stopped and you pause, you're thinking about what you're going to do next, you're thinking about the next steps, you're getting clarity about the next steps. That's a really good bit of action to be taking. That's action. But inaction is when your wheels are spinning and nothing's happening, you're not going anywhere. That's really negative inaction. So what can we do about this? Well, first of all, consider this for a minute. And all these things, think about this, how this is relating to you in your work or people you know in their work, and understand where it's happening for them. Because the thing here is working hard doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the best results. Working smart, as Virginia just said, working cleverly is really important. But working cleverly, what does that mean? Working smart, what does that mean? Well, your relationship that you have to your business is really important here, because you have a relationship to your business. You are serving your business and you're doing something very specific in that, because you're guiding it, you're creating the framework for it, you're creating the vision, the values, the standards that are going to be applied, and the direction for your business. That's really important stuff. That's the action there, is the creation of those things, is the action out of the relationship. But then the dynamic to hold that purpose in place is the things that you actually do, the work that you do to make your business work. And if you aren't doing those things, you may be expecting somebody else to do those things. But if you're not doing those things or in control of those things or not on top of those things to make sure they're being done, that's when your business has started to go off the rails, because the really important foundation work, and everything that I do is about creating these foundations in business so you can build on top. And those foundations are really necessary work. And if you don't have them in place, things start to go wrong. So what is the right action for you to take in your business? Well, hopefully, if you've been watching my Facebook Lives this year, you've been going through some processes and understanding different things, and you should be pretty clear by now about the purpose of your business, what you're doing it for. For you personally, that's a really important thing. Your personal purpose needs to be served, but also the business purpose. What's the business trying to achieve? And you probably have got clear now about your vision, what it is you're trying to achieve in the world, where you hope to end up with the business, and that might include your exit strategy. And you might have got clear about the values of what you're doing. But now it's about taking the action. And one of the things that in the delegation piece we talked about last week was that you have a role to play in your business, and so do the other people. And that role is for them to make contribution to your business, and for you as the leader to allow them to contribute to your business. Because if you're not allowing people to contribute, they can't. So you need to understand what the right action is for you in your business, and the right action for your business, and the right action for you as an individual. You need to really get clear about what that is. So if you thinking that through as I'm talking, just writing down what are the sort of actions that you need to be taking that you may not be taking right at the minute. Because if you can identify what those are, then you're going to really start to fast track your business forward, because you're going to be doing the right action for your business. But what are the things that the mistakes people make? Well, I think the biggest mistake people make is they rush. They rush to activity. They rush into action. And they don't really consider the output of their action or the consequences of their action. So if you're going to take action, you're going to do work, you're going to change the state from one thing to another, or you're going to move something to A to B, what are the consequences of doing that? Think that through first. That's part of the process of planning. They don't plan. So they don't plan the impact of these actions. A lot of the reasons people fail to develop the business they dream of, or the profits they want, or the sales they want, or the number of customers they want, is that they don't think through the plan. And they may do lots of activity over here, but then they need the next step in place. They need the next thing on the journey for them to actually, the customer to follow through. If they haven't thought of that part of the journey, then they're going to get to this point and the customer's going to drop away. And so we need to plan the process really clearly. We start to get into action, but we're using the wrong tools. How many of you done DIY, and you haven't got one of those 4 Phillips screwdriver things, and you've got just a flat one, and you think, oh, I'll get that Phillips screw out with the flat screwdriver. And after a few minutes, the flat screwdriver has destroyed the Phillips screw, and now you can't get it out even if you had the right kit. That sort of thing happens in business all the time. People use the wrong stuff, or they use it in the wrong way. So in marketing, people start throwing money at Facebook ads, or they start throwing money on print ads, or doing something like that without thinking through the processes. And there's nowhere for the people to go. There's no follow-up. There's no customer journey to take them on. So that money is wasted. And the other thing is, they don't prepare the ground for what they're going to do. Now, I love cooking. So for me, preparation is about chopping the vegetables, getting everything in place before you start cooking. This morning I cooked myself scrambled eggs and toast. So I put the toast in, the toast came out, I buttered the toast, then I cooked the eggs. So everything was in the right order. So you're not sitting there with the eggs in the pan ready cooked and the toast not done, and then time you get the eggs out the pan, they've all gone dry and hard. No, you don't want that. So you've got to prepare everything in place, and you've got to prepare your people. A couple of Facebook Lives ago, we talked about setting expectations for change. You must set that up. So what are the right things to do? Now, the reason that people make these mistakes is they have missed out one vital piece, and that is understanding their current reality, where their business is, where they sit at the minute, what's going on in their life. Now, if you don't understand that, if you haven't got that bit right, then you're going to be building on the wrong platform. You're going to be building on the wrong data. I think when I talked about the current reality, I talked about the idea of, if I gave, or somebody gave me directions to London and assumed that I was in Southampton, and I followed their directions precisely, but I was actually in Glasgow, I'd probably end up in the Shetland Islands. Now, they might be surprised that I end up in the Shetland Islands, but they forgot to figure out where I was first before they gave me the directions. So where is your business today? Before we start changing anything, before we start taking action, where is the situation, the project, the process today before you act on it? Because you need to have that clear and your desired outcome clear. And when you have those two things clear, then to take effective action, here are 6 simple tips. Firstly, plan. Plan in outline, so you've got the big picture, and then where necessary, plan in detail. Because there may be some things that really need to be noticed in real fine detail before you move on. Secondly, make sure that you've selected the right resources. You've selected the right people, the right systems, the right processes, the right tools, maybe the right location, so that you know that you have all the right things in place. Prepare. Prepare by setting the expectations of the people involved, getting the right bits of the process in place in front of you. Identify things that are going to be challenging and difficult and plan those in more detail. So that when you come to something that you've never done before, or it's for the first time, make sure you've planned into that the process to take simple steps through it. When you start, make sure you start measuring as well. Measure what's going on in the action, measuring how far you're going, measure the process, not just looking for the result. Measure actually your progress through the process and review it continuously. Review it all the time, because you may need to tweak and adjust the process as it goes along. And make sure when you are thinking about the time it takes, allow yourself enough time to do the job. So I created a course in the summer, which I know some of you have seen and some of you are doing, called the Perfect Customer Formula. Now, it took 3 months to create that course, because there was the writing of it, there was the scripting of the videos, there was the creating of the slides, there was getting the videographer booked, there was taking the film, there was editing the film, and then there was sticking it all together and then start marketing it. Now, that whole thing took over 3 months to complete for a 3-hour training course. Now, that's what time, we don't think about the time it's going to take to do these things. And that's why people rush into action and then realize they run out of time, and then they give up, or they stop, or say, oh, that didn't work. And they blame something else for it, and not realizing that actually they weren't taking the right action in the first place. And the number 6 key issue here is take small steps. If you plan huge steps, big steps, you'll probably fail, because they're going to be difficult to take. You're going to have to really stretch yourself to get there. And if you're doing that, there's a chance you're going to fall over. You're going to trip. It's not going to work. So the smallest step you can take is the best step. And if you identify that small steps, you may be able to take lots of small steps really quickly. Whereas if you try to take the one big step to get to that point, it would have failed. And I have a sort of motto for myself about anything in life, actually. And that is, go as slowly as you can to get the job done. Now, sometimes the slowest you go is a flat-out sprint. but it's as slow as you can to get the job done. That's the really key important thing here. When people start taking action, they rush at the wall and they slam into it, and it goes wrong because they don't need to be going that fast. And then sometimes they just think, I'll dawdle, and they miss the boat because they're not going at the right speed. You've got to know the best speed to travel to get the job done, and you want it as the slowest speed possible, because then you're going to have the most chance of adjusting on the way and making sure it's working, okay? Virginie's put a little bit more than 3 hours to complete, but it's worth it. Thank you, Virginie. She's doing the course at the minute. Good on you. So here's a question though. What are the consequences of taking the wrong action or just not taking action in your business? What happens if you just don't do the things that you need to do, if you don't do that necessary work? Well, the obvious thing is you're going to stay where you are. But is staying where you are actually a really good idea or a bad idea? In most situations, staying where you are in business doesn't help because the rest of the world's going to be moving forward. You're going to be left behind. So not taking action has some dire consequences. Not taking action with your team can cause them to get disenchanted or disinterested or just get fed up and leave. You don't want that to happen. You've recruited these people. You've got to make sure you take care of them. Also, the other things that may happen is that your customers may lose faith in you. They may lose interest in you because nothing's happening. You're not taking any new action. There's no innovation coming out. So you've got to be doing things new to keep your customers attractive. This year, I've started doing Facebook Lives every week. Why? Because it's innovative, it's new for my customers, it's helping you, my customers, make progress with your business. That's what my business is all about. That's my vision, my purpose. So I understand the outcome I want. So doing Facebook Lives is a simple step I can take. But guess what? I plan these Facebook Lives massively. These are the sheets I've had for the previous Facebook Lives. I've got one for every single one I've done, which gives me the detailed plan of what I'm trying to achieve, the outcome I want for each one. And the other thing is, if you don't take action, what are people going to start to think about you? Because they're going to see you working away at something and not getting results. Now, I know for a fact that I hate it if people start thinking about me that I'm not producing results, because it's my pride and my sort of, I've got to be doing something right. We all have that sort of little voice in the back of the head saying, hey, come on, we do care what other people think about us. Now, I don't let what other people think about me change my actions, but I do listen to it to see if it's relevant or not. And so we do care about that sort of thing. We do want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So not taking action is a really bad idea. It's going to damage your business. Ultimately, it ends up damaging you because you are not growing and progressing. So if anything I've said today is making you think, yeah, that's me, I'm not taking action, then why don't you book a call with me? Why don't you book a Kickstarter call with me? They last about 45 minutes, and in that we're going to dig into what's going on in your business right today, and I'm going to give you some ideas of how you can move forward and progress your business. And if you go to the business page to Be to Serve, you'll see some reviews there of people who've had the Kickstarter calls, and read those. They're great. People get a lot of value out of them. And the calls are completely free. And there's no obligation at the end of it to buy any service or stuff like that from me. Sure, I'm going to tell you what I think you could do or how I could help you, but you don't have to. That's not the purpose of the call. The purpose of the call is to get you moving forward, to get you to take the next step. So if that sounds like a good idea, give me some love, give me some hearts. I'd love to see that. Is this been useful today? Put some likes up, put some comments, because I like to know if this information is helping you progress in your business, because that's what I do this for. This is about helping business owners develop the businesses that are producing the profits, the lifestyle, etc. that they want, so that they can actually start to enjoy running their businesses rather than having the businesses being an albatross around their neck. So I'd really like to know from you if this is helpful. Thank you for listening today. Gone on a bit longer than normal. Oh, we've gone on a lot longer than normal, 20 minutes, but I thought it was an important topic to really get clear. Have a lovely time this week, guys. Hope you're taking action, and I'd love to hear what breakthroughs you're having taking action this week. Let me know how it's going. Let me know what's going on with you. I really look forward to seeing you next week in the Facebook Live at 12:30, same time, same place. I think we'll be in England next week, and maybe it'd be sunny. That'd be nice. Guys, see you soon. Bye for now.